Hey everyone, I'm Eric with Leadership Developed. This week we're going to debunk the myth of what military leadership is. While I have your attention, hey, hit that like button, also hit that subscribe button. Help us spread our message to other growing leaders so we can build a better future. In the last 3+ years that I have been away from the Marine Corps, I have experienced a lot with the civilian sector not understanding what military leadership is. Most of the times, they just tell me that military leadership is just barking orders and people do what we tell them to do. You have got to be kidding me. I don't know any single human being, man, woman, or child, that willfully will put themselves in harm's way just because somebody told them to. And the worst part is, it's perpetuated by Hollywood and TV shows and everything that does not understand what it is that we do. I'm going to use this time to explain to you how did we get to that position where it looks like we're barking orders and people are just going obediently. It is the whole collective unit coming together to create a solution. And this is how this works. So first thing that happens within an organization is the training. For us to get to where you see us in action, we have to start somewhere. And the first place we start is called problem framing. So within the problem framing, we start with what is our perception of the mess. And then we create a list of things that we think we have to do. So our mission was casualty evacuation within the war. And that meant for me to lead my helicopter team and my helicopter into a live battlefield to get the severely wounded out of there and to get their lives saved by proper professionals at their shock trauma platoons or at a combat hospital. We knew what the mission was. It was up to us to figure out what is it that we are going to see out there. Well, first thing we know is we have to fix and fly aircraft. I love that mission statement. Fix and fly aircraft. It's easy, it's simple, it's something everyone get behind. And then, once we figure out what we need to do, other than fix and fly aircraft, but how are we going into a mission? How are we going into a battlefield? What support do we have for us to help us get into that dangerous location? How do we keep our aircraft working? What happens if the aircraft gets shot? What happens if something malfunctions within the aircraft? All these questions, what, and what ifs. And then once we line them out, we figure out what do we know, what do we don't know, and what are we assuming. So now we figured out those 3 items. Let's now figure out how are we going to answer that. And then we start learning by what people done from the previous, in previous wars, how they did it. For us, we went to look at our history, our legacy, as a casualty evacuation squadron back to Vietnam. We took their best practices and incorporated it with today's technology and what we demand out of ourselves as society will accept. Then we go find answers from other people who have also done it. So we weren't the only ones that figured this out. But once we figure out what is this, what we can do, now we have to figure out how can we do it? How does our organization do this? Now we go into the planning process and we determine what our organization can do with what we've learned from everyone else. And in doing so, we bring that plan down to our people. And it's our people's responsibility to refine the plan and tell us, yes, we can do this. No, we can't do that. It's not possible. And 3, I think there's a better way we can do this. So that refinement then comes back up to us, and then we are able to write it out as this is our standard operating procedure. So now we have the standard operating procedure. We have to train to it. We have to practice it. We're getting ready to go to war. And so for us, we had to practice what we preached. And so we went through the different training modes to be able to get ourselves more fine-tuned. There's times that we failed and we learned from it. And there's times that we did okay and we thought we could do it better. But that whole time is us coming together and figuring out what works and what didn't work. So now we came to a point where we figured out that we have a pretty good idea of how we can do this. We've trained to it. Everyone's from top to bottom, bottom to top, have put in buy-in, have participated in it, and have an idea that this is how we can cohesively as a team work together to be able to accomplish our mission, which was save lives. But first, we had to test ourselves. We had to actually go away from home base and actually practice everything we preached and have somebody from the outside who had a good idea of what we were dealing with to be able to evaluate us, to tell us, yeah, we like what you're doing here. No, in our experience, this is what we saw. And usually you're using somebody who's, in that realm with you, in that, field with you, that's done it before or is about to do it or is collaborating with you. Now we've actually got away from home base and we're executing this. We are dealing with these scenario-based training items and these situations that might come up and we might see, and we execute to them as if they're for real. But we're still in the United States and we're still safe. But we just have somebody evaluating us and letting us know, yeah, I think you can be successful. Even allows our bosses, our higher-ups to have that sense of confidence that we know what we are doing. So when we were ready to fly out and go into country with our helicopters, we were ready and we did well. When we got to the war and we got out there and executed our mission in saving lives, going in that battlefield, getting shot at and bring people back home safely, we did our jobs. And all people saw on the news was that officer or that senior leader saying, this is how we're going to get it done. Let's go here. But the thing is, everyone forgets, how did we get here? And that is why military leadership is really important. Because what we did those 18 months before the war was allowed us to be able to be in that position where we can use less words, go right into action, and have the person accountable and decision maker to be able to be up front and say, this is how we're going to get it done. I hopefully gave you some ideas of what actually goes on in those scenarios where you see that military leader out front barking orders. He's not barking orders. They've got there together as a team. They put it together as a team. The leader is just accountable for everything that organization does and does not accomplish. And that's why it has to be able to be up front, make the decision, and tell everyone this is the decision we're going with. And very rarely is there any argument. Why? Because they already had the buy-in. They have the experience. They were part of the solution leading up to that situation. And so together as an organization, we came together to succeed and save lives. So if you found value in this explanation, please do me a favor. Hit that like button. Also subscribe. Help this message get out to other people throughout the world to understand what military leadership really is and what it isn't. Allow the truth to be out there so we can learn from it, and we can, in any sector, I don't care what sector you are, you can learn from this situation of how to build your team to be successful at the mission that you are assigned to do. I'm Landblom. It's great talking to you. We'll see you guys next week.